Year 6, welcome to Tuesday's English lesson. So, having introduced the video ruin yesterday, we're going to start building on what we did yesterday and building our work towards pieces of writing. So today we're going to begin to develop a vivid setting description. Now, when we say vivid, we mean that it's easy to picture. Remember, every time we write, we're writing for our audience. Okay, we're not just writing for the sake of writing, we're writing to engage, to entertain, to inform, and we're writing for an audience. And when we're writing a setting description, it has to be vivid so they can picture what it's like there. They haven't seen a physical picture, okay, as you have. They want to be able to picture it through their mind, okay? So our success criteria, I want you to use a range of descriptive techniques to describe a setting. Take all the senses into account in order to immerse the reader, okay? So immerse them, pull them in to your image, what you can see in your mind. And I want you to be able to vary the ways that you open sentences to engage a reader. Now that is going to be our main sort of focus, if you like, today. And we'll build on to the others tomorrow. Okay, now today's work links really nicely to tomorrow's, and we will build one onto the other really, really well. So again, just a bit of a reintroduction to the video. If you want to pause this video and go and watch the other video, Ruin, from the Literacy Shed, again, just try and watch the first 40 seconds. Pause at regular intervals. You'll see I've made some suggestions of good places to pause the video. So every 27 seconds, 34, 38, and 40 seconds. And really look at that setting. Remember, that is our focus at the moment. What are your thoughts about that setting? What has happened? Where are we? Why does it look as it does? Okay. Now today, as I said, the predominant sort of aspect of what we're going to do is looking at sentence structures, and we're going to do that through our planning. Okay, so tomorrow you'll be writing a vivid setting description. And to support this, we're going to use a planning format, and that's going to be today's key task. The planning format will allow us to plan out our sentence structures, ensuring that they vary in the way that they begin, before we have to think about paragraphing. So even before we get on to writing paragraphs, it's going to help us think about that, and it's going to help us start to develop some sentences that are going to be really useful and actually take away the thought processes we write and really allow us to focus in on structuring. We will also look at the planning format in detail. So it's the sheet that you have at home. If you want to have that in front of you as I speak, that would be really useful. I'm going to look at it in detail so that you have a really clear picture of what you need to do at each stage. Okay, so I'll move myself out of the way. So our planning approach, we're going to use something called DAD waivers. The DAD waivers is a mnemonic that allows us to plan for varying sentence structures and openers. Okay, and this will help us as writers engage our audience, maintain fluency and a fluidity to our writing so that it is a more engaging and more interesting piece of writing. Okay, we start the, this, the, that, each sentence, it becomes very boring, very flat. Okay, you might see that as you look at my table, that it is a little dull to start with. However, I'll show you some more examples, some better examples on the next screen. So each box has a little title next to it. Okay, so the first box says description, a sentence that begins with description of something. This would be a great opportunity to use a two-way sentence. Action, a sentence beginning with action, something happening. It doesn't have to be anything too extreme, too overly exciting, but it needs something happening. Dialogue, okay, so a sentence starting with speech, somebody saying something, use of appropriate punctuation. Doesn't have to be a full back and forth conversation. Where things are, so a sentence giving detail as to where things are in the scene. An adverb or adverbial phrase, so a sentence beginning with an adverb or adverbial phrase detailing how things will happen. A verb, begin the sentence with a verb, something being done or happening. Okay, so you're looking for an ing opener is a really good way to go, and a really good opportunity for you to get your head around what that means when we say a verb to open your sentence. Estimation of time, so a sentence starting with some reference to time, how long things are happening or when something did happen. A rhetorical question, so open the sentence with a rhetorical question, and this is a question that does not necessarily require a response, remember. Okay, some of this you're going, I'm not quite sure what he means. I'm going to show you examples on the next slide, so don't worry. And then the final one, a simile or metaphor. So a sentence using figurative language, using a simile or a metaphor. Okay. So, although the previous slide should have given you some idea as to what is required for each of the boxes, this would be the page I would use. And as you do your work, you might want to pause on this page just to give you an idea, or on the next page, should I say, just give you some idea as you do your work. Magpie the ideas from what you see here. Utilize what's there to help develop your own ideas. So, description. I said a 2A sentence would be a good idea. Well, tall and splintered, 2A. Thick tree trunks towered above the city streets. Okay? So, sorry, it should say tree trunks, not tree trucks. Towered above the city streets. Action. Thud. A heavy tree branch fell to the floor, missing him by only inches. Okay, so thud, a bit of a sound, some onomatopoeia, and then something happening. Okay, what made that thud? Trying to grab the attention of the audience. Dialogue. Hello, he called, but no response came. Hello, he called again. So you can see it's simple dialogues, two short pieces of speech. They don't need to be overly complex. Next one, where things are. Across the street, a lonely fox foraged through the debris of what was once a bakery. Very, very simple, just giving a little detail as to where he is in response to something else. Okay? Adverb or adverbial. So, cautiously. That's how he's doing this. Cautiously. That's my adverb. Whilst breathing deeply. So again, I've given a bit more detail about what he's doing. He peered out from his hiding place. Was anyone else there? Then a verb. So, kept it simple. I said an ing would be a word would be a good way of starting this. Walking slowly along the sidewalk. He was still struggling to comprehend where he was and what had happened. Estimation of time. It doesn't have to be specific, just anything linked to time. As minutes passed, his vision became clearer and the heavy buzzing in his ears seemed to ease. Next one down, rhetorical question. These are two examples I've given you, and there's another one earlier on in the adverb or adverbial one here, another rhetorical question. Was he alone? Had anyone else survived the apocalyptic event? And then finally, the simile or metaphor. So remember, we're using figurative language. Like veteran soldiers, there's our simile. The shells of the skyscrapers remained upright and strong against the backdrop of destruction around them. Okay, so thinking carefully about the language you're using, thinking carefully about the imagery we're trying to create. So your main task today is to use this example and the sheet that I've sent you and create a plan of your own. So create a sentence that goes in each box. Okay. By doing this, this will make our work tomorrow really, really straightforward. What we will do tomorrow is turn this into a paragraph of writing there. And actually, a lot of the work you will have done today, and tomorrow you can really focus on how are we going to link the sentences together and how am I going to make it make sense for a reader. Okay. I hope that is useful. Like I said, I'll possibly pause and leave this on your screen whilst you're working, just so you can magpie ideas. Don't overcomplicate it. The other thing to do is maybe have a picture of the video on your screen and do a sentence type for each one from that picture. Okay? Good luck, and send me any questions or things you need on Seesaw or Class Dojo.